Hi there, the last video of the energy work, and this is where we get to the deep level, which is the difficult one, and that is one where you do need your sight. And that will come eventually when you learn to work with sensation and enough time learning to sense the feels and literally working with when you pull something out. Is it a slug? Is it a worm? What is it? And sensing it, and your brain will begin to create a library up there saying, oh, I felt that one before. And eventually your brain will say, it's a slug or whatever, because then it will pick out the images from nature because they are stored in there and it recognizes it, the texture and the things are this is actually what it is. Squids can be two things. They can be organic, and then they are fifth density, and that's part of some of the false light races that exist there. Just go with it, and they put it there to control your mind for a period of time or suck energy from your brain, and when it's done they remove the squid. Literally sits on your head with its arms down here and can affect your heart as well, but typically goes into the throat. So it's positioned up here, arms going down there, here, and into your brain, where it literally goes in and control, and down your spine if it wants to get down to the root and the scrotum and the life energies that are produced down there. So it can do that as well. So be very, when we talk about things that are on the head, they always go to the root. If it's on the back and it goes into your heart, it can also go into the root. So don't just look at the areas, you have to look at the root as well, and the uterus in females, and the throat and whatever. When you remove things, ensure that it's not attached other places, because it can be all depending on how advanced it actually is. Squids can also be from some of the bird people that are entering your system again, and these are semi-metallic. They are kind of AI, not AI, but mechanic technological technology that is put there again to control you, but also to go into the center and literally go through you down into the root, and from that get energy and harvest your life energy, the pure one. Sometimes actually wanting the Leviathan energy as well. If you've got a lot of sexual energies, these squids will see you as a feast, because for them that's real fun energy, because they don't have much of that fun. Some of them literally just harvesting the human energies, the mammal energies, for fun, for the thrill of it, because they don't have these emotions in their own system, and it gives them a buzz. So that's some of the harvesting that's going on. So if you have been in entertainment areas, doing the roller coaster, going to the Tivoli, going to the Luna Park, going to the wherever you have fun with other people, entertainment, these squids are typically there, because when you pay, you also, there is this kind of, then you accept the entertainment that is going on there on the third, where you're having fun, and the races that are attaching their technology to you, so they are having fun too. Yay, let's go to the fun park, all of us, and all of us have fun. So that's going on. Have to remember that if you go to the stadium and playing footballs, there are also energy sucking factions going on there. If you go to a rally where people are gathered, there are also entities there ready to suck you dry and do weird stuff and do magic and harvest energy. That's what these rallies are all about. And people think they're doing good when in fact they're actually creating a feast for a lot of these entities that are sucking energy from us out. And if not any fourth entities are interested, then there's a lot of things going on in the astral, and that jumps from one person to another when you attend these gatherings of people. And a lot of things are going on there. So if you become energetically aware, and if a person like me, I would never attend a rally. I would never go to a concert. I would never go to a football game. And I would definitely not go to any political involved kind of things. Because there you are so open to all sorts of attacks, and they will use that situation. So you are seeing on a physical level that these groups of people are being more and more used as a place of physical attack too, because that is a place where you can create a lot of energy, and that energy is being used to open up specific code streams in our reality right now to call in some pretty big things we don't want here. So I would suggest to you that you really focus and think about where you place your energy, energy, and if it is so necessary to go to that concert and rally or whatever, and literally think about what you are giving your energy to and who you're supporting and what you're actually supporting when you think you're participating in something that is innocent or the normal human way of doing things. And that's where I literally, sorry, I'm getting a little bit pissed here, but that's because people, when we do this work, we kind of go out the door, and I do it sometimes myself, and we forget that we're going out into open space. And that means that we go into the free space of all of these creatures. And if you go out without knowing what you're actually going into, then you are literally saying, okay, I'm going in blind. I am going in unawakened. I am going in without accepting that there is a responsibility for me to acknowledge that this is a jurisdictional area of someone or something. And by me not acknowledging that, that thing or someone has the full right to attack you and suck your energy. So becoming master of energy literally means that nothing in this reality can go on unattended. You have to be in the now, and you have to be observant all the time. When we come to the last piece of removing things, that's the technology. And that's where the squids come in, and that's where the slug come in, because they are semi-organic artificial constructions that are based upon technology. And to get rid of them, you literally have to find their sequence of symbols and erase it, and it goes from right to left. You have to see these symbols to erase it, and that's why you need your mental capacity at the time. I have given specific exercises in how to activate your brain, but actually the site comes with clearing of the heart. Sorry, you have to have a strong heart field producing a lot of energy for your brain to begin to spark to life, to be able to work with dimensional energy. And that's just how it goes, and that's why they target the heart, because if the heart is closed, so will the sight. Then your brain will only work on normal frequencies. So the heart has to be awakened first and cleansed out and be freed of all of it, so it works in a natural energetic way and begins creating the correct field, sensing energy and interfering with energy, and learn to absorb energy and create energy as it was supposed to. And in that, of course, I've cleansed out the Leviathan energy, so that the energy it pulls from the root and up, and the whole system is based upon the true life-giving energy. Anyways, that's the very, very last thing. But the emotional energy can be cleansed to such a level that it becomes high vibrant enough to spark the heart alive to begin to work with energy in the correct way. So the only reason why you don't sense energy is because your aura is so clogged with emotional stuff and belief systems, so your brain can't operate and work with energy. It's stuck in its energy patterns and its rigid belief systems. So this has to be cleansed out. The best way to go in and work with the mind field is through the throat, but I've mentioned all of that in the free videos on Vimeo on how to do energy work. So when we come to the whole kind of site, there is a simple exercise. The visual cortex is placed here. So eventually begin healing that area, work with that area, spark it to life, make it work. And then you develop your brain, and you literally demand to develop the site, working with the brain capacity to see things as it has learned to see through the eyes. It learns to produce information with what you sense. But if you never develop the sites, who cares? You can sense it. Eventually, you can also sense the technology, because the technology can be round or squared, and it's semi-metallic. So if you never get the sight, you can still feel the coldness or the energy of the technology. So don't be frustrated if you don't see. Trust your senses. This technology is typically placed in the fifth density or fifth layer of your emission field. So you got the third, which are all the organs and all these kind of things. You've got the fourth, where you typically have the parasites, the slugs, all of the organic kind of stuff in the fourth density. And then you go into the fifth, where you begin encountering a lot of technology. And that can go from benevolent to not benevolent. I talked about the TGs, which are actually sacs that are in the fourth density. But in the fifth, You got the technology that controls it and is placed into the core of the brain, or in the spine, or in the root, or in the base of your neck, or here and everywhere. And that you will get to naturally. Because the more you work with this every day and cleanse yourself and learn to sense energy and get rid of the stuff, the slugs, the emotions, the energies, the things that are around you, the more sensation you will get, and the more your system will begin to spark to life. And the more it sparks to life, the more these things will surface on their own. That's why it's so important. You don't make your energy work ritualistic, but be intuitively and work with it per feeling and scanning and what's going on today as a curiosity, open investigation of your body every day. What needs to be done today? What has surfaced today? What do I need to remove today? One thing I haven't mentioned are kind of like the gooey kind of thing, the black goo that sometimes are there, can also be gray, and that's residual of technology. So in the fifth density, if you feel you got some sticky thing there, you can pull it like kind of goo, or what do you call it, a kind of a gel kind of thing, or oil, and you keep pulling it and you just keep pulling it, and it literally goes like this all over the place. That's typically because there is some fifth density technology that's beginning to leak and not function correctly, and that always creates this gooey residual. These technologies, some of them you can remove, most of them is best that you can see, and some of them are not to be touched whatsoever, and that if they come from Orion, because they have got things attached to them which you do not want to touch. So that's a type of energy work that will come later on, but that's much, much, much later. When you get to the level where you work with this, you are already communicating with fourth density creatures. You already become slightly telepathic. Unless, of course, you're doing the work with me, but I'm not doing that work for now, and I've stopped doing it on kind of over Skype, whatever, which I used to do before, because when you remove this technology, the races that created it are always coming by, and things are right now so difficult in our reality that is just too dangerous. So this is where I say it's there, and you will find other people who can work with it, or you can learn to do it by yourself, which I have. Remember, I haven't had anybody to teach me this. It just grew naturally out of my understanding of things. And you've got lots of people out there saying they can remove implant and technology and things. And if you want to work with them, you feel free to do so. Just remember that all of these people have an agenda. But I am not doing it, because my function is not to clear you of this technology. My function is something entirely else, and I'm trying to reconstruct and build a new reality for those of us who want to do it in a different way. And in that, I cannot waste my capacity in being attacked over and over again by working with removal of their technology. But of course, there are ways we're working with this on a grander scheme, so to speak, and that goes with the more we learn to communicate with these races. Of course, it would be more natural to ask them to remove their technology from us, and typically they will do so, but of course in the area of trade. So it all depends on who you are, what you are, military project, are you owned by someone or not? That defines if it's possible to remove this technology. And I know I'm just giving you information here and then I just leave you hanging, but I'm sorry, that's just how it's going to be for now, because things are as they are. When we get into 2019, things should have settled down a bit, and then we can take the whole issue up again if I'm going to teach anybody to remove that type of technology. But as things are right now, I will not do it. But you just need to know it's there. So read my material regarding the TGs and see how they can be combined. Some of them are old, some of them are easy to remove. When you sense the technology, you can ask of it to show its release codes, and you can then ask it literally to disassemble itself or deteriorate and then cleanse it out. But when you get to the point where you see the technology and are able to work with it, you have got all the capacity you need to remove it yourself, actually. So I'm not worried in that department. It's just now when you get the instruction videos and you haven't got the site yet, you think, why is she giving me that information if I don't know what to do with it? Don't worry, the beginning where you could sense technology will typically be the old type, and that is easy to remove because you communicate with it, and if it has a parasite attached to it, or the TG will actually instruct you how to remove it, because the reason why it's presenting itself so you can see it and sense it is because the parasite, or the genetics that are part of the parasites, wants to be released from your body, and in that you can communicate with it, and I wrote a lot about that in the Facebook group. So the whole Facebook group, it's way down in the post, so you probably have to scroll down a little bit, but it's a communication level, and most of these that communicate with you and present themselves are benevolent, and they will show you how to do the releasement, and at the same time give you the symbol that will ensure the enzyme that enables you to remove it, and from that heal yourself. So that is what you need to know, is kind of with this technology, it's typically a parasite. Learn to communicate with that, and you will have learned that by all the other work I've given you here. And in that, get the instructions, the releasement codes, and the symbol that recreates and heals your system after the parasite and the technology is gone. So that's also where you begin developing your telepathic abilities, learning to communicate with the parasites that are actually attached to you, especially if they got TGs, because then they're old, and then they've actually been inserted sometime in the mammal evolution, where they actually were inserted because the mammal folks at the time thought it was a good idea to upgrade and enhance their consciousness capacity. So this goes back to some ancient civilizations. So some of you have got it, and those of you who have got it, it goes with your template, and that literally is still in the holographic energy system. That template recreates into this physical form over and over and over again whenever it's recirculated in, and creates a new organic form. There are some TGs that are very difficult to remove, and if you get in touch, they're typically in the root, and if you get to the 5th density level, or the darker levels of the 4th density, and you begin working there and you get this kind of ominous feeling, then stop working with your root, focus more on the other things and work with that instead, your throat, your brain, your heart, and all these kind of things. And then when you get really scared and working with energy and keeping your focus and knowing how to control your emotions and get the side and know what you're dealing with, then you can go back to the root. And that's all I can give you for now. That's all I can give you without stirring up a lot of things going on in our reality right now, because you have to remember, at this point in time, I have gone so far that everything I say and do is being highly overlooked, and I'm allowed to do this to this level. I cannot give you further, because that will violate a lot of the agreements I've been forced to make, so that I at least can do some level of work with you guys in these classes. So, but don't be afraid. The moment you get to this level where you can work with this, you have the sight, you have the capacity, you learn to communicate, and you will know how to remove this, because all technology has got an information layer in it. It's constructed in a way, and you can learn to undo that construction by reading how it's constructed. Okay, so that will come naturally at the time where you're ready to work with the 5th density. Okay, I think that's all I will give of energy work in this. You begin with the free video Vimeo stuff if you haven't already. That's a lot of good practice, and the work itself, which is cleansing the chakra and the peripheral nervous system and your organs and your physical level and sensing energy and learning to do that, will take at least these 5 months we're having this class. So that is what you should focus on, and focus on the basic steps, and learn to get into the parasites, because if you can learn to see and sense the parasites and remove them, then you are really good on your way, as we said in Denmark, to get to the next level. And the whole 5th density all depends on what type of genetics you got inserted. So that will define what type of technology you got inserted to you. So if you have got, for instance, no 5th density genetics whatsoever, you won't have any technology attached to you. So it's not a given that it's there. It depends on your construction. Okay? So this is very important. So this is also why it can't be done on a general level that everybody has got technology. Not everybody has got it. It depends on your genetic structure. But everybody has got parasites in some ways or forms, and the things I've explained. And that's why you should focus on the physical and on the emotional and on the mental and on the beginning of the fourth density, where you learn to see and clear yourself from all of these parasites that are literally kind of a natural thing that goes around the physical body in the layers of the beginning of the fourth density. And again, it's a way of controlling us from the fourth density races that are here using parasites in many ways or forms to control us energetically and emotionally and mentally. The easiest way to control a person is actually emotionally is to insert a parasite in the area where the gland is, making it produce that enzyme that makes you feel that feeling. Okay? It is more when you get into the fifth density area, and if you have a great capacity there, that they will focus and center everything that they're throwing your way around the brain. Yes. I think that there's a little thing that you can, in these areas where you had the chakra, so to speak, there can be clusters of genetics, which I've talked about. In the center of the chakra there are inserted genetics. You remove them when you cleanse the perimeter, the astral energy of it, that's the low frequency level, and you cleanse that out emotionally. You can get to the mental, the belief system, the core of that nodal cluster thing, which typically goes into the gland. And in between these two things, I'm just pointing it because it goes with all the chakras, it goes with the every one of them. There can be a little cluster of genetics. It's typically like a little sphere, and you just pull it out, literally doing this, focusing on the cluster in the core of the nodal point of the peripheral nervous system, where the peripheral nervous system meets with the central nervous system, which is actually typically down here, but locality doesn't exist when you work with energy, unless it's in the back, but that has something to do with sight, and you're not observing what's going on there, because if you saw that all the time, you had your eye back in the neck, that's why I was there to begin with, you would see exactly what's going on there. So I'm practicing getting my eye back in my neck, or at least the sensation, so I can monitor what's going on there. So learning to sense my back, making my back sensing energy again. Yeah, your back is not sensing energy, but it can, because all your skin can sense energy. If you focus your intention there, you can make it sense energies, anything attached there, and then you can scan and remove whatever's going on there. But back to the thing in the core, where the central nervous system, peripheral nervous system meets, there's two different types of energies. There's typically genetics inserted there, and you just remove them by literally taking out that sphere and just remove it. You just remove it until you feel it slips, and then you just do this, and then it's gone, and these genetics are dissolved and turns into dust. And that's the intention you have with it. When you remove some of the things for your back, it's a good idea to bend forward. That's actually easier. If you stand up like this and you bend like this, it's easy to work with what's going on in the back. If you haven't got the capacity, like me, to work with your arms or center energy like this, you can stand up, bend like this, and then it's easier for your arms to move with the root and remove whatever from your spine, pull it like this, or whatever you need to do. And again, just make it a good habit. I know people will think you're crazy when you go around doing this, but literally it will save you so much time. Yeah, better be ridiculed a little bit than coming home with a bug that literally has grown into the size of the Eiffel Tower before you get home, or having energetic attacks in the train or on the highway, in your car, whatever. Learn to do this so that you get rid of whatever needs to get rid of while you do whatever you do out there in the normal world. Okay, I think this was suffice for now. Take care.